But there's still things for Ole to work on. And that's a good thing if you're winning games. It's a nice, positive thing to be able to say, well, do you know what? We're not quite hitting our form. We're not quite getting the most out of all of the players. But you know what? We're near the top of the league. Now, like I said last week, being at the top of the league at this time of the season doesn't really matter. It's very early. Let's get 10, 12 games in, and then we can start talking about that. But I think there were positives and negatives today, and obviously we'll discuss them all.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Rob, let's start with the starting lineup and the selection. So I think the key here for United today, and we saw McTominay back, and I think a lot of people, even myself, before he got injured, I was a little bit like, McTominay, how much of a difference does he make to this Manchester United lineup? And more importantly, how much difference does he make for Fred? Because Fred honestly looked like a player he looks half the player without McTominay. I don't think that's too crazy to say. So we saw that, didn't we? We saw them come back in, and that is Ole's first choice midfield. We saw Pogba pushed up to the left. Obviously, he played more with floating 8 today. It's where he's better, Rob, for me. I think he's more effective. And we had, him up there with Bruno Fernandes and Mason Greenwood. Right now, it looks like Mason Greenwood is that first choice player on the right-hand side. I mean, what's your thoughts on Jadon Sancho? It's still very early days. Ole was very wax lyrical about him, obviously, saying he could be at United for 10, 12, 15 years. And I think Sancho is going to be fantastic. But as it stands right now, Rob, Sancho isn't a starter. And is there any point being concerned about it? Because some people are quite concerned about that.
I don't think anyone should be concerned about it at all. I kind of formulated it in my head earlier on like this when people were talking about Sancho and obviously Greenwood. If Jadon Sancho has come to our football club for, say, mid-70 millions, what would you say, Haider, is Greenwood's worth at the moment?
I mean, look, Greenwood's close there or thereabouts, I would say.
So there we go. So equivalent players. So I think when Ole is looking at this, that's how he looks at it. These are two players who probably have equivalent value. But of course, the difference is that Sancho's been in the Bundesliga rocking away with Dortmund as he has done for the last few years and showing what he is. And now he's come to Manchester United. He's having a few teething issues, like I said in the last podcast. And I think that is normal. I think rotation is normal. I think it's really normal that Greenwood starts games. So I don't have any worries about Sancho. I think a lot of United fans are looking at this and saying, have United bought a player who's going to sit on the bench? Is this Donny van de Beek Mark II? Is Sancho as good as maybe the English press think he is? Well, I think he is. I think he's as good as we think. When you look at his stats, you look at his assist records, his goal records, it's excellent. But then again, so is Greenwood's.